Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hungry House Husband Show. And today I'm going to show you how to make a real quick, delicious, cheesy bread out of the pizza dough that I made the other day. So on a well-floured work surface here, we're going to go ahead and take 1/3 of our dough recipe. That's going to be roughly about 1 pound of dough. And we're going to smash it down, sprinkle a little more flour on top. That will help get rid of the stickiness, and then we're going to start stretching. Be gentle, we don't want holes, but at the same time we got to make this thing bigger. So you can try stretching it with your knuckles. That will work to a point, but once the gluten starts to build up in this dough, it's going to start springing back on you, kind of like a rubber band. So at that point, it's best to just let it sit for a minute or two, let it rest, and then try again. And you'll notice that that time it will be a little bit more flexible. So you can see it springing back some, so I'm going to let it sit here for a little bit and then come at it with a rolling pin. Now with this size of this thing in mind, I'm looking for something roughly about the size of a medium to large pizza, somewhere in there. This is cheesy bread. It's a side dish. It's not a main course most of the time, unless it's bar food, in which case absolutely. But just get the general round shape that you're going for. That is the size of your pan. If you have too much dough, cut the leftover dough off, roll it into a ball, and add it back to the rest of your dough, wherever it may be. Now, this does, you can see, try to snap back a little bit still, but it is thin now. It is about 1/4 of an inch or so, maybe a little over thick, and the edges are a little thicker than the middle, just like a pizza. So this is my pan that I'm going to use, and one of the things with this dough is it loves to stick. So you got to give it a little something to cling to, and hopefully that's not going to be your pan. So the first thing I do is sprinkle down some cornmeal. Now this is going to stick to the bottom of the dough and give it a little bit of texture. It'll help give it a little bit of crunch, but at the same time it's going to keep it from sticking to your pan. Also, one quick spray of non-stick spray will help. Now, put your dough down, stretch it out as best you can. Again, if the gluten starts to build up, then let it rest for a minute or two and then go for it again. I'm not completely sold on perfectly round pizzas. That's not normal, and most of the time that stuff is done by a machine, which I do not have. So you can just kind of force it, but not too rough. You don't want to tear your dough. You end up with a hole, and at this point, and you're going to end up having to pinch it together. And you can see I'm getting it a little thin in places, but that's not horrible bad. I mean, it is cheesy bread. It's going to be covered in cheese anyway. You just don't want a hole going all the way through. Thin is one thing, a hole is something completely different. So here we are. I've stretched it out as well as I think I can without putting any holes in it. So take a couple melted tablespoons of butter and about 2 tablespoons of garlic minced, and brush it onto the raw dough. We're going to give it a nice generous coating, just so we can get that flavor of the garlic and the butter into it before we put the cheese on. So once it's all buttered and garliced up, we're going to go ahead, and I like Italian spice, so I'm going to add a little Italian blend to it here. This is just oregano, basil, parsley, the usual. And then I'm going to start adding the cheese. Mozzarella first, and this is about a cup or so, and then some cheddar. and only about a half cup or so. I didn't go overboard on the cheddar this time, just because it tends to look better and taste better, I think. Top it with a little bit of Asiago Romano, and then go ahead and pre-cut this into the strips that you want, and then off to the oven to bake at 425 for about 10 to 12 minutes. And there you have it, cheesy garlic sticks. Now do go ahead and recut them along your original lines and enjoy the ooey gooeyness. This really is some of the best breadsticks I've ever had. Definitely the best I've ever made. You get the butter, the garlic, the Italian seasoning, the cheese. It just all comes through at the same time. The crust is kind of chewy but still airy. Best pizza sticks and best pizza dough I've ever made. But until next time, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, may your life and your food always have flavor. Bye-bye.